What's up, everybody? I recently picked up a Quickjack to make it easier to lift my car instead of using a jack. I quickly found out though that the Quickjack is much heavier and harder to move around on my garage floor than what they show in the videos. After doing some research, I found out that there's a mod you can do that makes it easy to move the Quickjack around. I'm going to install that mod today and then we're going to see how it works. Alright, so these are the pieces that I'm going to use to modify the Quickjack to try and make it easier to move. Most importantly, these are 1-inch roller bearings and I got them from Harbor Freight. I'll put the link in the description. I also had this wood lying around. This is 1/4-inch MDF and this is 5/8-inch deck planking. This is 3M double-sided tape. It's a little thick, but it's what I have. I have some scissors to cut the double-sided tape and side cutters to cut the zip ties. I also have this measuring tape and I have this paint that I'm going to use to paint the bottom of the Quickjack because I've been moving around on my concrete floor and it's scratched up the bottom, and so I'm just going to try and protect it a little bit. I'm going to turn the camera around and we're going to get to it. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take the double stick tape and we're going to stick it to the bottom of the roller bearing. There isn't a lot of surface area back here, so I'm going to try and take advantage of as much as I can. I'm going to put it in so that it goes right up to the tip of the roller bearing, and I'm going to cut it. For now, I'm just going to cut it off. And then I'm going to do it again on the other side. Then I'm going to push it in tight to get it to stick as much as possible. I'm going to cut off the excess. I'm going to press it in as much as I can. Do the other side the same. Next, because I already did this on the other side, for me, I measured up 9.5 inches from the bottom of the frame here upwards. And make a little mark. Same on both sides. It doesn't have to be perfect, and depending on which model you get, you might have to put it somewhere else. But for me, if I take the roller bearing and I center it underneath that 9.5-inch mark, it raises the Quickjack up about 1/4 of an inch, and that's enough to roll nicely. Next, I'm going to take the back side off of the double stick tape, and then I'm going to try and center it at that 9.5-inch mark. I'm going to do the same for both sides. Next, I'm going to use the zip ties that just help keep the roller bearings in place. There isn't a lot of space on the edge of the roller bearing, but you just do the best you can. you can see that it's rolling around easily now already. And I said I was going to use the side cutters, but I don't have them with me, so I'm just going to use the scissors. Super easy. All right, so now I'm going to work on the back side. I've got the Quickjack on its side to make it easier to mount this single bearing. Originally, I was only going to use this single piece of wood to mount the bearing to. But once I had it mounted up, I realized that it wasn't equally off the ground compared to the one up front. So I ended up just adding an extra piece of wood, and that brought it up enough to be equal. I'm going to connect these two pieces together just with double-sided tape. These two pieces together are about 1 inch, and so that's enough to raise the Quickjack equally off the ground. To mount the roll bearing to the wood, I'm going to do the same thing as I did up front. And then I'm going to take off the back side of the double stick tape, and I'm going to mount it to the wood. Lastly, I'm going to mount the wood to the Quickjack. All right. I'm going to mount it at the very front of it here. So now, if I tip the Quickjack back on its edge, you can see now that the Quickjack moves very easily. Whereas before, sliding it around underneath the car was very, very difficult. Alright, so now that I've modified the jack pad adapters, I'm going to try it out with the Quickjack and see how well it works. I have the Quickjack on this side here, and I have one on the other side, and now that they have the modified wheels, I can just roll them out. And these are the adapters. And that side's all set up. All right, and now this side's going to be the same. just double checking that none of my adapters fell. Looking good. That's the first locking spot. And that all looks good. And so there are 2 locking spots. I could raise it up higher. I think I saw somebody use a jack stand like this, and they put it underneath the Quickjacks just as a second set of precautions. But the locking spots are should be good enough, but I'd rather not have it fail when I'm under the car. So this height's really good because if I want to get the wheels off the ground just enough to rotate them, this is high enough. I can lower the seat and maybe do some work on it here in the wheel well. And then if I raise it up to the next spot, double checking that it's in the spots. And then at this height, I raise my jack stand. And same idea, put one on both sides, and it's just a little extra protection. But you can see here that with the modification, the wheels are off the ground. It's on the base, this wheel here, off the ground. And so it's standing on its own weight the way that it's supposed to be. And this height's perfect for if I'm detailing the rims or even doing any work on the car. It's a good height. And then additionally, this will allow me to get my creeper underneath it and if I'm doing any work underneath the car. So it works really well. And with the Quickjacks, to lower it is very easy. You bring it back up a little bit. These go forward. See, caught on the jack stand. Much better. And that lowers it. I think that's going to work really well. Alright, so one thing to note is that with the modification of the roller bearings in the Quickjack, it raises it up about a quarter of an inch off the ground. And so this car has pretty low clearance already, and so what I noticed was that on just the front passenger side, the suspension was a little bit more compressed, and so the jack pad adapter wouldn't fit with the mounting block. Underneath the car, I couldn't slide it in because the jack pad was too low. And so I used my double stick tape again, and I had some more of this scrap decking, and I just stuck two pieces together, and that was low enough to get under there with the suspension being compressed. Once I use this to raise up the car and bring it back down, then the suspension is uncompressed, and then the next time I go to use it, this piece fits under there without any issues. Well, that about wraps up my video for the Quickjack and jack pad adapter modifications. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. There's much more to come. Thank you very much.